So I know it's never, so we spend, the taxpayers, like people around here that work and take money out of their pockets, they take more out of their pockets than any state or any country on planet Earth in terms of the special needs community. And that's a good thing, because as I've said, so this, we shouldn't say we don't do anything, you haven't done anything, the state hasn't done anything. New York State taxpayers, we do more than any other country on the planet, the state of New York.
So what about staff salaries?
Yeah. So
about making sure to fund raises for
So
staff.
here's how it works in our democracy, right? You need a majority of each legislative body and the executive. In this case, the state. So the Senate, the Assembly, and the governor. And then in New York City, who is flush with cash right now, they have a multi-billion-dollar budget. Mayor de Blasio, he sets forth his budget. He can take billions of dollars of that surplus and dedicate it to this issue. Assemblyman Cusick and I have asked that that be the case. Assemblyman Cusick and I have proposed in the state budget that more money is dedicated to this issue.
We work very hard every day with our individuals who have developmental disabilities and sometimes very physically, impaired also. They're such hardworking, dedicated people.
Yep.
What's going to keep them working with our loved ones and the individuals that we serve? They're going to just go to McDonald's to do that.
Proposals of across the board minimum wage
But it has to be funded. The proposal is not enough. There has to be funding for that.
I think that as advocates, it's great to put your voice behind this in terms of asking the people who really have more power. It's just the way our system, were I mayor or were I governor, I promise you this issue would be solved. Because the executive does have more power in this regard. That's just a fact. So I think that you guys need to have your voices heard by Mayor de Blasio. I understand we say, well, the city doesn't give us anything, but the city should. The city should, especially when so that's not to me an excuse to say, well, the city doesn't give us money. The city has a multi-billion-dollar surplus right now. So wouldn't this be a perfect opportunity to do it as opposed to waiting when there is not a surplus? We're hopeful there's an opportunity here. There's $20 billion being proposed in this budget for housing. As I said, half of it is earmarked for supportive housing. We're trying to work with the executive, his administration, his staff, to find out specifically what they mean by supportive housing. Our idea is to say some of that, a percentage of that, should go to this very cause. So the governor has said the federal government, President Obama, threw us a curveball and it's hurt our cause. But we're coming out of the end of that, and the cost is being absorbed into 2 budgets already. So the good news is the federal government has grabbed back, they called it a claw back, and they've taken money from the state of New York. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to stop fighting, and I'm not going to, just because it didn't work out last year, I don't give up on the things that I care about.
Feel more likely of being successful this year?
I think there's an opportunity that hasn't existed because of the fact that this money is already in the budget for the subject area that we're concerned about. So in the next 2 weeks, I'll have a better idea as to whether or not we're going to be able to dedicate some of those billions that are earmarked for housing to this cause. That's what